99% of real estate wholesalers fail. They're like crypto investors or drop shippers. Real estate wholesalers fail, but not all of them. Today, you're going to listen to Ryan, who went from a broke wholesaler to just last week closing 5 deals. Wholesaling real estate is when you find a distressed property, you get it under contract at a discount, whether it's a house, a piece of land, or maybe even a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. It doesn't matter. You find an investment property, you get it under contract, the seller signs a contract, and then you just sell that contract to an investor who's going to fix up the property, make it into a rental, or build a new house, and you get paid an assignment fee. This assignment fee could be a few $1,000s on your first deal, like Ryan is going to talk about here in a second, or it can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the coolest thing about real estate wholesaling is that you can start right now, wherever you are, 100% virtually. Ryan was doing this virtually. He doesn't have a license and he started with no money. Let me introduce you to my best friend, Ryan. Ryan, when did you discover wholesaling real estate?
I discovered wholesaling real estate when I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw this video of this guy that was talking about this ugly house and how, you could get it under contract and then assign it to a buyer and without actually owning the property, which made no sense to me. So I clicked on his profile and he had like a little $50 course that he had, and it was a terrible course, but it opened me up to real estate wholesaling, and I just got obsessed with it. And I did like 6 months of research and just dove deep into it.
So you were wholesaling for 6 months and you didn't get a deal, but like what were you doing? Were you like calling realtors? Were you knocking on doors to sellers? Or like what were you trying to do to find an ugly house to get?
Well, what I was trying to do is just figure everything out, because in the beginning there's so many different things that, like the contracts, how do you fill out the contract, inspection period, option period, like all these different terminologies. It seems pretty simple now that I've done it a few times, but in the beginning it seemed like there's no way I was going to figure out all of those things at once. So I was really just educating myself for a long time, and then I was just messaging random people on Facebook that I knew were wholesaling deals, and I just asked them random questions like, hey, how many deals have you done? What can I do to get more deals? How do I do marketing? And then from there I slowly worked my way to texting realtors on market, and then sending offers. But the problem that I had was I was sending offers to agents all over the US. So it'd sometimes be in Florida, sometimes it'd be in Texas, sometimes it'd be all over the place. So I wasn't like focused on one market. And then when I did get a deal, I was like, well, how do I sell this deal now? I didn't have a buyer's list. And even if I skip trace a buyer's list, there's all these people daisy chaining, and I just didn't have a lot of guidance in general. So that's why I was super happy when I found you guys.
I met Ryan just a few months ago, and like he was saying, he was trying to wholesale real estate. He was trying to find deals all over the United States. He was trying to get the deals and sell them too, which is like the 2 biggest mistakes that new wholesalers make. But were you also doing creative deals? Were you trying to find like subject twos and seller finances and all these crazy things?
I was trying to do everything.
And that's the biggest problem that wholesalers have. Those 3 things. They're wholesaling all over the US. They're trying to do acquisitions and dispositions both. And they're trying to do creative, fancy wholesaling. Guys, if you want to succeed in wholesaling, wholesale cash, choose one market, and only find the deals. Let somebody else sell them. When you started, you were doing a little bit of everything. You were just really learning. You took the first few months to learn, to get comfortable, whatever that was. But how did you get your first deal? Like, explain to me the first ever wholesale deal you got.
Yeah, so I started working with you guys and you told me to focus just on, Dallas. So I focused all my attention on Dallas. I was sending offers to realtors on market. I think the property that I got, it was listed at $175,000, and I got it down to, I think it was like 120 or 125,000. I sent it to you guys and you guys are like, okay, lock it up. I locked it up, and a few weeks later we closed it. It wasn't a big fee. I think I only got like $1,500 on that, but it was the proof of concept because I had worked so hard for the 6 months before that, just learning, and I hadn't closed anything. So I really didn't care about what the assignment fee was on the first deal. I just wanted the proof of concept that it works.
Here's the deal that Ryan actually got. This was his first ever deal. It was on Zillow. So he called the realtor, it was listed at 175. He negotiated down to 125,000. He sent me the contract for 125,000, and my team sold it for, I believe, like 130.
Yeah.
Yeah. So none of of us made a lot of money, but it was the proof of concept for Ryan. He realized he could take an ugly house and without spending any money, without going in and fixing up the house, just by sending a contract and then sending it to me and then me selling that contract, he could make actual money. So you knew you can make money by calling realtors, but you only made $1,500. Like, how did you go from making $1,500 on one deal to making tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, what's the next evolution for a wholesaler?
Well, what I did was it wasn't a lot of money, but I used all of the money and I just invested it back into myself. And I started buying PPL leads that were off market because, investors want off market deals and you can get a lower discount on them. And you also don't have to deal with the realtor as well.
So a PPL lead, a pay per lead. And when you're wholesaling real estate, there's a lot of ways to find motivated sellers, people that want to sell their house. Sure, you can go door knock them. You can go call them. There's a lot of strategies, but one strategy that Ryan is the best at is buying PPL. You spend, how much is a PPL lead?
They're usually anywhere from, $100, $150 to $300
per lead.
Per lead.
Wow,
yeah.
That's expensive.
The good thing that I like about them is that, I don't have to run a Google campaign, or I don't have to manage cold callers. I don't have to do anything besides click a button, call the lead, try and close the lead.
So these PPL leads, they come from companies that are doing PPC or pay per click. They're running Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, and they get these leads and then they sell them to people like Ryan, who will pay $100 a lead. Some people are paying $200, $300, $400 per lead. And then the goal is to close, like, how many? Let's say should you start by buying 2 leads, 5 leads? Like, how much should you budget?
I would spend as much as you can if you can. You never want to buy like 3 or 4 or 5 leads and then be like, oh, this doesn't work, I'm not getting a deal. You have to view it as an investment into yourself, and a lot of the deals come with follow-up. So let's say you bought 50 leads, maybe 1 or 2 of the leads you might get on the first call, like a first call close, but the majority of the rest of them you'll probably get through following up.
So Ryan started to invest in himself, and real quickly after that, his wholesaling career just took off. Here, I'll show you.
It was terrible looking.
This house is fucked. Oh, wait, I have the pictures.
It was sinking.
I have the pictures. The first off-market deal that Ryan got was this one on Maryland Avenue. I remember this house, dude. It was so bad. Bro, that house is literally divided in 2. So this ugly house, Ryan got it under contract. He sent an offer for $69,000 cash. And I know what y'all are thinking, like $69,000 for that, but it's actually not a bad deal because with like $60,000 of repairs, the house could be worth close to $200,000. So an investor, he paid us $81,000 for the property. And out of that amount, Ryan got paid $5,000. So bro, you went from making $1,500 on your first deal, then a second deal you made $5,000. So now you had $5,000. So what did you do now?
I did the exact same thing. I got that $5,000 and I used 100% of it to go right back into marketing. I spent all of it on paper leads, and yeah.
This dude is a gambler. Let me show you the results of investing $5,000 on pay per lead. So Ryan found this deal on Harlandale that you got it for like $101,500. But dude, we sold this house for $136,000. And how much did you make?
I made $17,500 on that one. That's the most amount of money I have ever had at one time.
Dude, wait, what were you doing before this? Like before you got into wholesaling, like what were you doing?
I was an iron worker. And then before I was an iron worker, I worked in sales, doing financial sales. So I was all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I went from doing sales to, working at a gym to being an iron worker. I was just chasing wherever the money could take me.
Do you like this? Like, sure, you're making money, but like, do you actually enjoy this?
I genuinely enjoy talking to off-market sellers. I definitely don't enjoy talking to realtors, but I definitely enjoy talking to sellers because, some of them are, better than others, but sometimes when you do get that good seller on the phone that's just like a nice old lady and, she just wants help to get out of her situation, like, I love talking to those people. So I definitely enjoy the job.
And the thing with wholesaling is once you get a rhythm going, you just start going. Dude, this guy turned into a freaking machine. He wholesaled a deal on Parvia, which was some crazy land deal. He wholesaled a property on Old Mill. We had the crazy story with Pinedale. Yo, this house was nuts. Dude, what happened with this house?
So I was talking to this realtor and I was making an offer on the property. I think originally my offer was at like 180,000. I thought the after repair value was like 300,000. But we found out later it needed more work done to it. So I had to lower the price. I got it under contract, I think at like 170 or 180,000. But then we had to back out, lower the price to 150. The agent's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I had to follow up for a few weeks. And I guess the sellers were facing foreclosure. So they got to a certain motivating point where they're like, okay, I'll just take any offer. And they took my $150,000 offer. We got that one under contract. And then the problem was that they were facing foreclosure in like 4 or 5 days. And it was like a Thursday or a Friday. And then the foreclosure was happening on like a Tuesday. So we really didn't have very much time. So we ended up putting the deal out. I think you guys found a buyer at like 180 or 185 or something. It was going to be a good deal. And then I think we got the bank to extend the foreclosure to give them more time. But as soon as the sellers got that extension on the foreclosure, all of a sudden they're like, oh, now I'm not motivated anymore. I don't have that pressure. And now they're like, okay, I want more money. I'm backing out. And another thing that happened is when we lowered the price, the realtor like fraudulently wrote on the contract, like I forget what it was.
The realtor literally committed forgery. I'll make a full video on this. This deal was nuts. They used us to extend their foreclosure. Then the realtor committed forgery. So then, guys, the deal went to garbage. So we slapped a memo on the house. We memoed the house. We clouded title so that they could not sell it without coming to us first. It's a really great strategy. I actually taught Ryan that strategy. So we memoed the house, and then somebody else, they wanted to sell to somebody else. Well, they had to come back to us and negotiate with us and pay us in order to sell the house. So we ended up getting that deal. That one was pretty cool.
The problem with that though is that the sellers had already screwed over another investor and there was another memo on the property that was before us. So that other investor had it much lower. Actually, I think it was at like 125 or 130,000. So this seller has 2 memos on her property. She ends up, I think she fires a realtor. So I guess, I don't know what their plan was exactly, but they were just basically holding out and trying to get as much as they could. None of that worked out. So they ended up originally going back to the first investor and saying, hey, like, help me. But we also still had a memo on the property as well. We had to negotiate, us and the other investor had to negotiate a way for us to get paid to take off the memo so that, the sellers get to sell their house. We get a little bit of money. The first investor gets paid as well because he sold the deal. So it all worked out in the end, but it was
crazy. Y'all, with wholesaling, something new will happen every single day. I wholesaled a house and literally the day it was supposed to close, the city came and bulldozed the house. Realtor committed forgery. I've had squatters like literally assault me. Like it's nuts, but it is so much fun. By the way, if you want to learn how to wholesale real estate for entirely free, make sure to join the Wholesalers. This is where I met Ryan. I teach y'all how to wholesale deals, how to find deals, and then my team sells them and we will get you paid real money. The Wholesalers is the #1 real estate wholesaling Discord server. We're an awesome community and I hope that you guys join and we just hang out. We have so much fun in here.
So once everything closes, what I plan to do is just do the same thing I've been doing, put it all back into marketing. For the longest time, it was so stressful just to make a deal work. Because, when you're getting 1 deal a month or even 2, if something bad happens to either one of the deals or like there's so many bad things or just little things that can happen that kill the deal. There could be title issues. There could be the seller backing out. There's so many things that can go wrong. Just because you have a purchase and sale agreement doesn't mean that no matter what you're going to close. That seller can just decide to not show up to sign and just be like, no, I'm not closing. And then it's going to be very hard for you to close on the deal. So now that I have money that I can invest back into the business and I'm closing way more deals, I definitely feel like less stressed out, because when you just have 1 or 2 deals and something goes wrong on one of them and then you're like depending on all of your advertising budget and everything on the other deal closing, it can be very stressful. And these deals do take a long time. Even if it's a closing date of 10, 20, 30 days, that's a long time to just be sitting with no money, basically waiting for it to close so you can get more leads.
So there you have it. Ryan is on a roll. He's on a rampage, but it all starts by just getting started, calling, getting your first deal, reinvesting your money, and then scaling and growing a business. Ryan is building a legitimate business here. Next step is he's going to hire employees. He's going to hire a full-time transaction coordinator. He's going to literally scale and build a business because, you know, he's making 6 figures plus now. Hey, my plumber's calling me. Hold on. Let me tell him I'll call him back. You should not toilet too much, bro. So if you want to get started wholesaling real estate, if you want to get started learning about investment properties, maybe you buy some, then maybe you just sell the rest of them. The best place to start is by joining my free Discord community. Ryan joined a few months ago, and I mean, he's just been absolutely killing it. So the link is in the description down below, guys. It's free. Just join, come hang out with us. I'll teach you how to do this. But before we jump off, I just want to give Ryan the mic just to give you guys any final words of advice. Because sometimes you guys look at me and you're like, hey, Max has this big wholesaling company. I'm not going to be able to get there, which trust me, y'all are. I'm nothing special. But this is a guy who was in your shoes, most of you who are watching this video, just a few months ago. And now he's here. So Ryan, like what words, what tips can you give people who are trying to get into real estate wholesaling?
The biggest thing is you have to invest a lot of your time. You have to understand things aren't going to work out. And you do have to view it as a business. I think it's a really good business because, most businesses, you have to get a ton of loans and a bunch of money up front. Like if you're going to start a restaurant, you need to have supplies, you need to have staff, you need to get all these loans for rent and everything. But so people, when they start a restaurant, they have no problem spending all that money because that's expected. But when it comes to real estate wholesaling, you guys watch all these YouTube videos of everybody doing everything for free and you're like, oh, I'm going to make tens of thousands of dollars and not spend any money. I'm not saying you can't, but that's going to be very hard to do. And money likes speed. So the faster you can get leads and the more you can get leads and the more that you're talking to off-market sellers, the better deals you're going to get and the more money you're ultimately going to make. So I think if you do happen to, do it for free and then get your first deal, use all of that money to invest into yourself. And you don't have to be a marketing genius. Like nowadays we have pay per lead where you can just click on it, buy the lead, they want to sell, their motivation, you just call them and you just provide a service that they already want, which is selling their home. It's just negotiating a good price. It's not that hard.
Guys, what's hard is just getting started. Analysis paralysis, just get started. I hope to see y'all in my Discord. I know each and every single one of you can be like Ryan. I hope you liked this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and I'll be dropping a lot more content in my new studio. See ya.